How's it going, everyone? It is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. Let's get into the picks from the last video, which was MSTR as a day trade long and NVIDIA as a CDS long. So let's go over the setups over here and let's zoom into what was happening on that day. So on MSTR, here was the setup. I said, hey, look, we're testing this level a couple times. If we can break through the high of the day, that's what we can get long. Turns out we never kind of got that signal to get in long on the trade. So if you're waiting for that signal, waiting, we never got the breakout, and then you actually avoided a bit of a late day sell-off over here. Now, if you took it for more than a day trade, it actually ended up working out pretty well. So if you took a CDS on MSTR, would have worked out pretty well. But I only was recommending a day trade, so ended up being a no trade for the system. I did actually end up taking the trade at an earlier point, and I want to talk about what I was thinking, my thought process, and maybe some mistakes I made. But in terms of what I recommended for the video, that was a no trade. Now with the NVIDIA CDS over here, let's take a look at the stock. So stock, again, was breaking through some of these high minus trend lines, getting out of this wedge, fresh buy signal. We're also through this resistance, or we tested this resistance level yesterday. And so you can see here's the test, that resistance level. First test, we actually got a big red candle on heavy volume, bearish engulfing candle. We couldn't get quite back up into the range, and then we had a sell-off the rest of the day. So that's the power of D1TA, right? If you're not aware of that, you are going to get slapped out of that trade. Now, today, it actually gapped up. It opened near the level, which is good. Test, broke above, and then actually has managed to hold some of those gains above that. So we're actually confirming this breakout of the wedge over here, and we have some room until maybe 135. So in terms of the CDS, if you did take it, you would have had a pretty good chance to take some money on that. But I'm not sure. I think the exact videos were if it was kind of sort of made an LPTE kind of day, you could take that CDS. So I'm still going to categorize both of those as a no trade because we didn't end up taking them, even though they did end up working the day before. So we'll take a look at what's going on today, and then maybe some picks that we can take a look at to take advantage of some opportunities we're seeing. So SPY is in this D1 compression. All right, we're testing the top, we're testing the bottom. Not really going anywhere. Tomorrow we have the FOMC minutes, which should probably move some M5 stuff, but otherwise it's not really going to do a whole lot. We're kind of chopping around this A VWAP Q as well. And if I zoom in a little bit more, and also, I could probably hide these drawings for a second here. Just going nowhere, pretty much going sideways. So, CPI could break us out a little bit. I'm not sure how much upside potential is there unless we get a really cool number. That would maybe kind of break us out. But then we have earnings to start, and that'll have a bid for the season here. So yeah, we're pretty much just going nowhere. And so on a longer term basis, fundamentally, nothing has changed. I'm probably a little more bullish fundamentally, if anything, given the good economic data. Technically here, also still bullish. We're holding the breakout, which is good. We're holding this level, but we're not really going anywhere. So, if anything, maybe expect to dip and reload. But on the short term, we're pretty neutral. So I'm keeping it very small, very light. Don't have a lot of open trades. We have the WBA short. And that's kind of it right now. So we're not in a whole lot of stuff. Zooming into the short-term charts a little bit, let's just take a look at the price action. And in these compressions, there's a couple things you notice here. If I actually put this these things back up, right? Test the upside, test the downside, test the upside, test the downside. So when we test the downside here, that's when you want to find relatively strong stocks, and then you can take gains on the move up. When we test the upside over here, that's when you want to find relatively weak stocks, and you can take gains on the move down. So That's pretty much the name of the game in the compression. Now, this only works until the compression breaks. So that's why you don't want to go overboard with your shorts and longs. In the event of a compression break, look, you take the loss on your one short. Maybe you could even get a scratch or a small win, and then you can kind of quickly pivot to the long side. So just kind of one or two positions. Don't kind of go too overboard. Um, that's kind of the name of the game. So today we had a gap up, had a little bit of a test the bid, and then we made a new high of the day pretty early on during this bearish cycle. And so then this was a nice bullish cross here. No production. We kind of stalled out. Bearish cross had no production. Then we got a bit of a test of VWAP, and now we are rallying up higher. Volume is fairly low. But look, we're close to the top of the range, right? That top of the range is close to around 574-ish, 573. We really have not gone too much past that. And on the bottom end is about 566. So we're just kind of stuck over here. So when we get close to that level, and then we start to stall for a little bit, that'll tell me that, look, we're probably going to test the downside pretty soon. So with that in mind, I was looking for what's a good short that we can find today. So here's my tags over here. And there's a couple of nice longs. Hood is nice. PLTR is nice. We already call it MSTR. Carvana is a nice breakout today. Yeah, that's a nice breakout on the D1 chart over here, moving up higher, although it is very choppy stock. We want to get in on those dips. PayPal, nice breakout as well. So there's some nice stocks here, but I think we may get a better price on a pullback. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look at a few stocks here. And what I really like here is actually Sedge. So Sedge, I think we may have traded this before, but it's in this bearish channel. It hits the top, and once it hits the top and rejects, that's a good time to get in. And then it actually broke through this horizontal resistance around 1980. So I like Sedge as a short. We got a nice amount of room here at about 1750. I think it works pretty well for a PDS. So that is going to be the pick for today. And if we go into the strikes for Sedge, you could probably do, I think I like the 1850, 1750 strikes here on the stock. It's just right. It's pretty much at the money. Pretty good liquidity, fairly tight bid-ask spreads. So, once that stock moves a good ATR, you should be able to get some nice profits, maybe 30 or 40% on that stock. Zoom in on the N5 here today. You can see how this stock is really hugging the low of the day while the market is moving up higher. So on the next 1OP bearish cycle, maybe get a little bit of a pop here. That's probably when I would get in on Sedge. So pretty choppy intraday, but I think has a nice chance of moving up, and kind of try to get in on one of these little pops if you can. So that's going to be the pick of the day. So a couple of other nice picks here that I'll just mention if you're curious. I mean, Kava has made a nice breakout today, testing these little highs here, seeing if it can hold that level. I think I mentioned Hood. Hood was a really nice move early in the day. This is a beautiful breakout of compression. You could also probably trade this if you wanted to. Breaking out of compression over here, excellent liquidity. And what I love in the intraday chart is it came back here, test this level, test. Now it's making some new highs. So yeah, I'd definitely take Hood. I'm gonna wait for this bearish cycle, and then I may take Hood personally. But yeah, I'm going to recommend Sedge PDS for the video for this week. So take some gains into strength and, manage it how you will. If you want a longer term horizon, you can take some puts. You can even do shares. I think a PDS works pretty well in this sort of environment where we're staying light, we're staying fast, we're staying nimble, just finding relatively strong and relatively weak stocks that are moving despite what the market is doing. So thank you for watching, everyone, and we'll take a look at how Sedge is doing in the next video. Oh, I almost forgot WBA. Let's take a look at WBA here. Again, so still compressing, not really doing a whole lot. I think we could probably take a decent loss here. So looking to take maybe a smaller loss. We'll see how we have earnings coming up on the 15th. So I may try to hold it until then and try to take a small loss around 1850 if I can. Let's see how it goes. But that's kind of the plan for WBA. So that is it. Thank you for watching, everyone, and let's take a look at how these things do in tomorrow's video.